Hello, everyone. Welcome to Read 5213 for the fall semester. I want to take a minute and just walk you through the course and make sure you know where everything is. My name is Toby Thompson. You can see a little about me on the Start Here page. There's the welcome message that tells you everything you need to know about how this course was developed, a little bit about my philosophy, kind of how I do things. You've got information for the course overview. You've got my office hours, information on netiquette, technology needs, and where to get technical help. If at any point in time you need technology help, I am not the person to reach out to. Please reach out to NSU IT. They can get you started. The syllabus is under the syllabus tab, appropriately enough. Except that's the wrong syllabus, isn't it? So let's fix that. Whoops. Didn't mean to stop sharing. Where am I? There we go. Let me pull the correct syllabus. Here we go. And I'll get the link fixed. I didn't realize that I was uploaded the wrong syllabus. So this is the correct syllabus for Read 5213 for the fall semester. A lot of the same information is here that was in the Start Here. You've got the course information, you have the instructor information. Of course, this is an online class. We meet asynchronously from August 19th, which is today, until December 13th, 2024. You've got the catalog description, the purpose and goals, student learning outcomes that are linked to competencies and standards that are through our accrediting SPA. So we have the International Literacy Association. We have the OSAT because at the end of your reading specialist degree, you can take the reading specialist OSAT. And then this class also has International Dyslexia Association standards that I've matched to. Here are your learning outcome methods. You'll see that modules 1 through 3 are worth 100 points total. The introductory document that I sent to you last night is module 1, and it counts for 10 points. Module 2 consists of an article reflection, reading 101, and the science of reading is module 3. And you can see the point breakdowns here on the syllabus. I've also tried to include those in Blackboard, and I'll show you that when we get back to Blackboard. I just want to make sure you understand the syllabus first. The major bulk of the course is your reading, required reading, your reflections, your strategies, your one-pagers, your group collaboration. I know that sounds like a lot, and it's going to be a little confusing for you at the very beginning, but I promise you it will be okay. All of the assignments, the strategies, the one-pagers, and the collaboration have been designed to help you take all this information in and store it, get it into your long-term memory. So you'll see that things build on each other throughout the course. So for example, the first thing that you'll do once you get into module 4 is you're going to read. Before, during, and after reading, you're going to complete a reading strategy that you'll submit for a grade. After you've submitted your reading strategy, you're going to work with your group on 3 different things. The first thing you're going to work on in your group is a discussion of what it was that you read. The second thing you're going to work on in your group is a one-pager that synthesizes all of that information into one document. And then finally, the last thing you're going to do is in your group is apply what you have learned to a student in the form of a section of a case study. The case studies that you work on as a group will help you when you come to the first part of your final that you'll have to do as an individual. All of the articles have been color coded. So there will be a red reading, a green reading, a purple reading, and sometimes an orange reading. Anything in orange is for everybody in the group to read. You will decide at the beginning whether you want to do the red articles, the green articles, or the purple articles. And that'll save you a little bit of time when it comes to reading. Please feel free to read everything. You have access to everything. You can certainly read everything. But in the interest of learning deeper, I'm only requiring you to read your required color. If you start out in module 4 or module 3 as the red reader, you'll be the red reader all the way through the course. Groups will consist of 3 to 4 students. I don't have a final tally on the number of students we have in this class yet. As soon as I get that, then I will form a group sign-up sheet so that each group has an appropriate number of students. You will always be the expert on your color article. And when it comes to discussion in your groups, since you are the only one required to read that article, you're the one who is teaching that information to the rest of your group. After you have read your chapter or your article and perform the assigned strategy, you're going to upload your strategies in Blackboard when we get to module 4. Or I'm sorry, module 3. Strategies are an individual assignment. After you've turned your strategies in, then you're going to set a time with your group to collaborate with your group. You can see the point breakdown as we go in this section. I'm hoping. Let's make sure that. Yeah, okay. You should be seeing the syllabus. It just wasn't highlighted, so. Sorry. When you're working with your group, you can simply talk about your article that you read. If you decide to do it via Zoom, I will tell you doing it via Google Docs is what has worked best in the past because you can contribute to it as you go or as you're able, instead of a Zoom meeting where you're forced to all be there at the same time. Your discussion needs to be thorough, detailed, and you need to reference the text. Some of the things to include in your discussion are these 7 questions. You are not required to answer these questions in written form and turn them in. The only thing you're required individually to turn in are your strategies. These questions are meant to help guide your discussion if you can't think of anything else to discuss. Let's see. After you've done your discussion, you'll work on collaborating on a 1-pager. I'll talk about ways you can collaborate in just a minute. This 1-pager, as I said before, is what's going to synthesize all of the information that you have come up with as a group. A 1-pager is just that. It is a 1-page representation of your discussion. Let's see. I thought I had the link. I'll show you an example in just a minute. As I said, one of the best ways to collaborate for this class is through a Google Doc. Here is a sample. You can see that these 4 ladies chose different colored fonts, which makes it really easy for me to see whether or not the discussion is in equal parts. You can see that the person who is in peach contributed a whole lot to the strategies and really all the way through. So I would go back up and figure out who she is. This is Tatum. Tatum did an excellent job all the way through. And I would go back and look at the same for Rebecca, Susan, and Keela. So Keela's in green. You can tell that Keela started the discussion. Somebody referenced what Keela had said. Someone else continued that discussion. Tatum commented again on what somebody else said. What I'm trying to get across to you is that this is a back and forth. If you read this, you can see that they are actually talking to and with each other. So their discussion meshes. It doesn't hit like that. This is what I want to see. I want to see you communicating with each other, building off of what each other has to say, asking questions, answering questions, all of that good kind of stuff. A Google Doc is the easiest way to do it because you'll get notified when somebody has edited the document and you can go in and see what was said, and then you can contribute more. Does that make sense? You do have an opportunity in module 3 to do a practice run, and I'll give you feedback on your discussion at that point. So don't worry, it will be okay. For your one pager, you're going to use Google Slides or a similar platform. In the past semester, Canva has been really popular because you can easily extend the size of the page to fit everything on that you need to fit. These are all of the requirements that you need to have on your one pager. And in Blackboard, I have included a checklist for each one. So I know I said I would do this in a little bit. Let me just pop in and show you. Here is a checklist for your one pager that you need to make sure that you use each time you do a one pager. There's a sample for your Google Doc, and here's a sample for the one pager. So what you can see on this one pager, they have a title that is not the title of a module. It is not the title of any of the articles that they have read. You can see that they have a main point. So they've synthesized all their information into one main point that they've included. They've got their 3 pictures that are required. They have 2 Costas levels of questions, 2 Costas level 2 or 3 levels of questions and their answers. It's a little awkward, isn't it? They have 5 vocabulary words and their definitions. And then these are quotes from each of the readings. The only thing not, and then this is the explanation of their choices. You can see their border. The only thing that's missing in their quotes is a citation of where the quote came from. So let me pull. So this explains everything that you need to have. Further explanations out to the side. You have to explain your choices when you submit. That's the one thing that a lot of people forget. Here's clarification for Costa's level of questions. We are working on the second and third stories of three-story house, if you want to use this metaphor that's on this site. So our level 2, we're using understanding, we're examining, we're creating, we're deciding, we're using supportive evidence. And then here are question stems that you can use to help you create your level 2 and level 3 questions. Remember that a level 2 or a level 3 question requires more of a thoughtful response. So when we are looking at Costa's level of questions, make sure you answer those questions thoroughly and completely. Here's just a quick single page. We're applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and evaluating. We are not using knowledge or comprehension. You only have to have 2 Costas level questions. It doesn't matter to me whether you do level 2s or level 3s. You can do one of each. Totally up to you and your group. You will have a final exam in this class that is due on December 9th. It is 2 parts. Part 1 is to be completed as an individual, and it is a case study of a student that you will choose from folders at the end of the course. And I'll have more details when we get to that point. The second part is a materials review. Early on in the course, like pretty soon, I'm going to be asking you which curriculum, program, or state-approved assessment do you want to evaluate for its effectiveness to address dyslexia in students. It can be something that your school is already using. It can be something that you've heard of. It could be something that you're wondering about. It doesn't have to be anything that you already have firsthand knowledge of unless you just want it to. You can work as part of a group on this. At the end, you're turning in a 3-page paper minimum. Here are some examples that people have done in the past. When we get to the end of module 2, I'm going to ask you what topic you're going to be doing and whether you're going to work with a partner so that you can go ahead and get started on this part of it as soon as possible. You can, before we get into really the meat of the course on what dyslexia is, we're going to be looking at 5 non-negotiables of reading and how those, so that everybody starts on a clean slate. So you're looking, when you're initially starting your research on the material, you're looking at the background for the assessment or the curricula or whatever it is you've decided to do. So you can go ahead and build that background information part of your paper. As we go through the course, then you can start applying what you've read about effective interventions for dyslexia and whether your program or assessment effectively addresses those things. Have technology, all of that good kind of stuff. Here is the late policy. If something comes up, please let me know as close to ahead of time as possible so that we can make arrangements together. Everything else, if you find through the course of the semester that you need support, there's student disability services, student affairs, Hawk Reach counseling services. We do have a food pantry. We have a Rowdy's resource room, and then you can report concerns through this link. We do have an artificial intelligence policy in the Department of Curriculum and Instruction. And you can see where AI can be used in a helpful manner, where it is not responsible use. Here is kind of how we're going to be using it, Most assignments will be no AI. I want it to be your thought completely. If you have concerns or complaints about the course, you deal with me first. If I don't adequately address it, you'll go to the department chair. If the department chair doesn't adequately handle it, you'll go to the assistant or associate dean, and then finally to the college dean. You do have the opportunity to appeal your grades. Here are the policies for that. And then here is the course calendar with assignments and due dates. So this first column is what module we're talking about. So this is module 1, the introduction, and what student learning outcomes we're going to be hitting. Here are the readings and viewings. So in this, besides the introductory Google Doc, you're going to be looking at the OAS website. You're going to choose a grade level you'd like to teach. You're going to read the introduction, family guide, standards, all of that, which is found in the curriculum crosswalk, which is linked here. You're going to take notes, or you're going to print and highlight. You're going to turn the notes in and your brainstorm what you know about teaching, reading, and what you learned from the ELA framework. And then the last column is your due dates. Everything is broken down that way. The module part, the student learning outcome, the next column, what you're supposed to be reading. The next column is the directions that you'll follow, and the next column is the due date. It's that same way throughout the entire syllabus. You'll see links to readings. You'll see links to strategies. So everything you can find in the syllabus that you would find on Blackboard. Let's go back to Blackboard. So we talked about the start here. We talked about the syllabus, which I'll update. The announcements page, I will post announcements usually at the beginning of every module. Sometimes those will be video announcements. Sometimes they'll just be written announcements, just a reminder of what's coming up. And then the learning modules is where the magic happens. These are resources you may find useful. They are not required. However, they are here if you would like to look at them. These provide additional information to the required readings that we have in the class. And you can use those in both parts of your final exam and as we go through the class. So if you click on the module, let me go back. So you'll see this little book here, and module 1 and 2, Introduction, OAS Experience in Reading 101. If you click on that, after you've read what this module is all about, if you click on it, you'll see the individual assignments. Again, with the links and the directions. Reading 101 starts is the start of uploading your assignments to Blackboard, and you click on this page that does not have any blue on it to let you know that that's where your assignment link is. You will either upload your files or create your submission and hit submit down at the bottom. Your due dates are here, points possible are here. All of the learning modules are set up that way. So here's module 3. Again, a reminder that if you're a red reader, you're only reading red. If you're purple, you're only reading purple. If you're green, you're only reading green unless there is orange. And then orange is to be read by everyone. Here's the introduction to the Science of Reading module, module 3. Here's how many points it's worth. I'm going to click on module 3, Science of Reading. And here are my readings. So the red reading is here. The green reading is here. The purple reading is here. There are no orange readings for Module 3. Directions: take notes as you read using any method of note-taking you prefer. Submit your notes in the next tab, and you'll see that your notes go here. And then you're going to set up a time to meet via Zoom synchronously, or create a Google Doc, Google Doc to discuss asynchronously. And that's where you submit it here. Only one person from your group needs to submit the group collaboration. You can see that all the way through. Let's just pick a random. Let's pick in Module 6. Here is the introduction. Readings are there. Here is your strategy where you submit it. Here's where you submit your collaboration. Collaboration for this module is not only your discussion and your one-pager, but also the case study. So that is, go all the way down. And here's your final exam in 2 parts, which we will talk about when we get closer. That is the course in a nutshell. The syllabus, while I have you, let me go ahead and edit this syllabus. I'm gonna break this link. And then we are going to copy that link. And now let's see. There we go. It's the right one. Yay. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to answer questions. The best method to get hold of me is by text, because I am constantly on the go. I'm in schools 3 or 4 times a week. So a text message is the best way to know that you have a question and the easiest way for me to get back to you. I look forward to working with you this semester, and I will see you soon.